the defense attorney's arguments, I wholeheartedly condemn David, his actions, and the actions of any criminal or predator. I'm obliged by YouTube's rules to tell you that you should not imitate the actions of David, and this statement represents a clear discouragement against imitating dangerous or harmful behavior. This video doesn't include any illegal material, instructions on how to carry out a crime, any footage of a criminal or victim while a crime is being committed, and this video categorically does not intend to glorify the crimes or criminal.
Right now, she's cultivating her inner peace, which started by checking her approval odds on Credit Karma and applying for that balance transfer card, which helped lower her interest payments and her stress level. Get the confidence to find balance. See your approval odds.
You're not broke. You're just waiting on that refund to hit. Why wait? With Tilt, get covered up to $400 instantly with the cash advance.
Okay,
No credit check needed. It's cash on your check. You win?
So heading downstairs and find the garage. That's your way out. Or it's locked to it.
I hope that's understood.
I'm so
Now,
sorry.
that was an intense day at the courthouse. I was at the courthouse at the fourth David hearing. Okay, I've got a little special guest with me right now. But I was at the courthouse for the fourth hearing in a row, back to back, and essentially we heard in the court basically all of David and Celeste's text messages between them over the course of years. Now, if you saw the update that I did outside of the courthouse earlier on today, you'll see that I kind of broke down, you know, some of the details, some of the backstory. A lot of the other reporters that were in the room have now kind of, you know, given their updates, and a lot of them, the people that were allowed laptops, you know, they were basically writing down, typing out as many things as they possibly could. Now, I had my trusty Tiffany notebook with me, okay? And whilst I was in there, my wrist was damn near on fire. I nearly managed to write down every single text exchange between David and Celeste. And there was like one or two that moved a little bit too fast or were too long for me to write everything out. But I wanted to, in a separate video, basically just go through all of my notes, give you guys the entire text thread, the entire conversation. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm not going to reproduce it. I'm not going to put it on screen. I've literally just got, and I'm not talking about the sort that you download, but he was a dummy. He admitted openly in many back and forth exchanges to have had relations with this minor. She was basically all of these texts, with the exception of a couple that happened after her 14th birthday, which I will tell you when that happens. Pretty much the vast majority of the text messages that I'm going to read you took place when David was 18 and Celeste was 30. That's a fact. That's a proven, that is a fact. That's what happened. Those are the dates, those are the times. Ain't no David was 16, 17, he was a kid too. Nonsense. He was an adult, she was a mom. That's that. So I'm going to go through absolutely everything with you in this video. And it's just despicable. So the conversation started. Let me give that caveat, my mistake. The majority of the messages that we saw occurred when she was 13. Now, apparently they first communicated through iCloud messages in August of 2022. So apparently they first spoke on the 8th of August 2022. And that was basically like the first time that they'd actually communicated, at least on iCloud. That was kind of the first iCloud, iMessage, Apple-based communications that these two had. And that's very important because all of this was provided via Apple, basically. And one of the unfortunate details is there's no way of Apple, and look, any of you criminals out there that want some advice, I guess, there was no way of Apple reproducing emojis or GIFs, or obviously there were images that were included in his iCloud account, but there was really no way of reproducing some of the things. So there are some certain moments where they go back and forth, and it just has a square, what I saw in court, just had a square that said OBJ, like object. I don't know if that was an emoji, Giphy, GIF, image, sort of inline image. I don't know, but we didn't get to see those. So if you're a criminal, if you're the next El Chapo and you want to plan all your drug deals and never get caught on iMessage, if you communicate exclusively in emojis or GIFs, apparently the feds ain't able to get hold of those. So that's very interesting. It's been a long day. I'm going to stay hydrated. I'm going to get all of this info over there for you guys, okay? So they first communicated on iCloud-related communication methods on August the 8th, 2022. At the time, Celeste would have only been years old. Now, the last exchange that they ever had was on April the 23rd, 2025, which we now know is the day that she was allegedly murdered.
So, I figure we're going to need a key closer if we want to
She
was saved in the phone as Cell, C-L, and that was sort of like a shorthand nickname that he had for Celeste over the course of a lot of their communication. So, in terms of text, they kind of followed, you know, the same sort of, they basically, like, they followed a pattern in their messages, and the messages lined up to the pattern of illegal videos that were found on his phone. I talked to you guys earlier about that in a separate video, and I'm not going to really talk about the existence or description of any of those illegal videos in this video. But what I am going to do is explain to you the text messages between them, and you're going to hear, unfortunately, David making requests for more videos, and basically sort of like this sort of candid conversation between them, where they both kind of you know, commit to basically make more videos together. And again, I don't think there's any argument to be made that she enticed him into it, or that he shouldn't have known better than to communicate with on this basis. But you're going to kind of see that, you know, he's the only adult in this conversation. So this should have never been happening, and she really can't consent to any of these interactions. He at certain points tries to kind of like throw his hands up and act like she initiated certain things, but at the end of the day, he allowed these things to happen, and he was dead wrong for allowing it to happen. So basically, we kind of saw like a whole bunch of pictures and all that kind of thing, but eventually we got to the text. And the text begun on November the 25th, 2023. And the context of these is they were referring to the fact that there was discussion of emergency. And there was basically talk of the, and it sounds like kind of took place. David was getting minute-by-minute updates from Celeste about that taking place and confirming that it happened. And it really just goes to show you how duplicitous he was. He had this girl thinking that they were going to get married, they were going to have kids, they were going to start a family together. And you could just see the manipulation, you know, when he's trying to get what he wants, it's we're getting married, we're going to have a kid. But when he needs that done, he's on the case and he's talking all kinds of reckless different ways. So the first thing that we were shown in court was a message from Celeste to David, where she said, currently manifesting my...
This is Jonathan Carney, my office, and I want to take this time to give, to tell you about, if you don't know, and give my commending recognition to man of God, David Herzog. I've known David for a number of years now, and David is a real man of God who has ministered.
David replied, did you miss your date? And as soon as these messages started getting read in court, I noticed that David kind of like quivered his lips. He knew he was cooked, and he knew how bad this was. She said, did you David replied to her. David replied, said, did you miss your date?
Once you've got the key card, you're going to hit up the museum and attach it to the keypad. That way the car comes over. Museum sub swipes his D's and bam, sends it all to us. Just, you know, try to be tactful. We don't want them calling the cops.
I'll be honest with you guys, I think they call it... There's a name for when people use tracking apps as contraception and they have sex sometimes when it's less likely to get you pregnant. It can still happen, and I wouldn't call that nonsense, to be honest with you. If I'm gonna have, sorry if it's TMI, but if I'm gonna have relations with someone, I practice very safe sex. If I'm gonna have relations with somebody, it's gonna be with protection. I don't want to have kids. I actually don't want children at all. Currently, as it stands, don't have any children, don't want them ever. If that changes, I'm sure to let people know. But realistically, as it currently stands, don't want kids, don't fancy the vasectomy with black boy magazine special. But what I do know is that it's my responsibility. If I don't want to have children, I should not be having unsafe sex. It's very, very simple. And, you know, maybe I'm more mature than most people. You hear all these stories of guys that, it just doesn't feel as good. Grow up. It should have been his responsibility, but he was trying to get her on the Flow app. All right? That's what we had from David. He's trying to get her on the Flow app. So after that, he would later follow up with her. He said, I know that's why you should start tracking. It's ovulation week. It's important. I just need to make sure you're on top of your... Why wasn't this piece of shit on top of his just putting a condom on when he's going to do this act? At the very least... Excuse me, I'm quite frustrated today, and like as time settled down, like it's just made me more and more irritated with the stuff that I've seen in court. But it's absolutely your responsibility. The idea that he's telling this, you need to be on top of get the Flow app, is absurd to me. So she would reply, and she said, I'm not having it. And after that message was read in court, Beth Stillsman, Deputy District Attorney, paused and said, can you just remind everybody how old she was at the time of this message? Celeste might have even had a promo code. This guy was really out here. He sent the Apple Store not promo, but the Apple Store link to the Flow app. Couldn't have just put a condom on, right? And she replied, and if I'm not having it. David replied, damn near impossible. We both didn't. This guy is a moron. What type of grade school sex education is this idiot had? Anyway, more texts were released from December the 1st, 2023. And in these messages, David texted her, and this was so dumb, because we heard this previous testimony that David had used pseudonyms to order some of these, despicable tools that may well have been used in the attempted or planned disposal and of Celeste's body. David admitted to using the pseudonym that was on some of those packages. He sent her a message, said, I have different names and aliases. I go by Travion Davis here. All of my packages and everything. He said that on December the 1st, 2023. He didn't think, when he allegedly murdered this girl and ordered items to try and dispose of the body, he didn't think, my messages telling the girl that this is the alias I use. He said, all my packages and everything. I go by Travion Davis here. And Celeste replied and said, please be joking. David said, no. So a little while later, on December the 20th, 2023, about 1:47 p.m., they had another conversation. David messaged saying, this was fun as hell.
Yeah, that looks
I don't know
very
what the
expensive.
context of this conversation. So this conversation is, this is all they showed. But clearly, maybe she was asking. Maybe she was saying, can I get a band? Can I get $1,000? I need some money for this. I need some money for that. I don't know. But he said, why not one band when you deserve 10? And do you know what she replied? She said 10. Well, because you 10 times. That's what she said to him. And he replied to that. He said, it was 6 actually, baby. And she said, how you know? And again, the deputy DA paused the courtroom, said, how old is she when this message was sent? Still.
He was shoving his gun up under there.
So the following year, not a whole year later, but two weeks or so later, into the next year, on January the 8th, 2024, but Celeste is still at this point.
Corpay started with one purpose: to help businesses control spending. Employees spend.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Corpay. Every way your business moves money.
So now you playing me for a fool.
DJ, we're leaving.
Is my old spice in there?
I think I'm gonna stay. But it's in there somewhere, so I can smell it.
That means I'll
Rule
never
number
see you
1.
again.
Oh, come on. Oh, Lord.
Boy, I'm talking to my old spice, not you.
David texted her. Said, I'm sorry again, baby. I didn't ever want to put you through this.
He's got 200 or
And
300
Celeste
rounds.
replied, no, it's okay, don't worry, both of us. Oh, sorry. She said, no, it's okay, don't worry. Both of us aren't able to take care of it. And bear in mind, this is just a couple of months where after David told this, it's damn near impossible if we both didn't. Disgusting. So, after Celeste says to David, no, it's okay, don't worry, both of us aren't able to take care of it, David replied, I know, but still. Then Celeste replied, don't worry about it, my love. And David replied, you're so much stronger than me, baby. I love you. Celeste replied back to that, I love you more, my love. It's okay. Don't worry. Neither of us are capable of watching and taking care of. And David replied to that, yeah, I know. A few hours passed. David replies to her once again, says, when are you going to get it done? Celeste says 2 days. David says, also, my mum always told me to ask this if I was in this situation. It's mine, right? And Celeste says, of course, David. And David says, yeah, I know, baby. I just have to ask so I don't feel like a complete for her. He's talking about his mum. Now, his mum comes up later in a much more damning context, but I just found this very irritating because I'm sorry, Colleen Burke. I'm sorry, Colleen Burke. Hopefully no one says this to her, but clearly you failed as a mother. And this despicable excuse of a son that you've got here, the only good advice that he had in the relationship front was, if you knock up a girl, make sure you ask if it's yours. People want to point the finger at Celeste's parents. Not deserved at all. They've been through enough, and I've seen them in court. They're definitely going through it. People are acting like they just don't care. They care, and they tried to stop this monster.